Hi everybody, welcome to TOC Talks. We're in Morgan County today. My name is Ed Welch. I'm the Assistant Commissioner for Rehabilitative Services for the Tennessee Department of Corrections. Now for people in the know, it's kind of redundant to say I'm the AC for Rehab and TDOC being the Department of Corrections, because corrections and rehabilitation are synonymous. And so today we're going to be talking about mental health and how we treat the mentally ill. Nationally, prisons house 10 times the mentally ill patients as state mental hospitals. So we're going to talk about how we do it, particularly in Morgan County. I'm here today with Warden Shawn Phillips, who will start us off.
We have a couple of programs in Morgan County that deal with that aspect. One of them is the supported living unit, which some other folks will talk about in a minute, but one of the other programs we have is a security management unit. We call it the SMU. It is a three-phase program, consists of 17 weeks for each phase. It deals primarily with the inmates that have behavioral, disciplinary issues. Every phase of the program contains a lot of cognitive-based programming to get the inmates back on the right track. Unfortunately, some of those inmates also have some mental health issues, so we have a multidisciplinary team consisting of security, mental health, and the unit management staff that deal with those folks on a weekly and daily basis to meet their needs. So we'll let Ms. Lybolt start off on the SLU.
Thank you, Warden Phillips. AC Welch, you're right. We have a really large population of mentally ill inmates in TDOC. And as our population grows, I'm very proud to say that we have addressed that by opening 6 supportive living units across the state. These supportive living units, 5 of them are for males and one is for females, and they house our seriously mentally ill inmates in a residential treatment unit. Part of that treatment includes a multidisciplinary approach, and along with that we have a really large mental health staff that are diverse and can manage these inmates with a variety of different techniques and programs. So I'm going to pass it off to Rachel Ruby. She's going to tell us about the program here at Morgan County, which is different from all our other supportive living units because it houses maximum security inmates who have serious mental illness, which poses an unusual challenge.
Great, thanks.
So our MAX unit deals with men who have a variety of issues and problems, and usually what we see are severely mentally ill inmates, either level 3s or 4s.
So that means they're not part of general population?
Correct. These inmates, because of the issues that they come to us with, there's no way that they can interact with other inmates in general population. And that's why we have the supportive living units, so that we have a place to treat them, a place to house them, care for them, so that they are not being taken advantage of. They are not posing a risk to other inmates or are at risk themselves. So that's the biggest thing about the SLU. And we do all kinds of treatment with them. They are seen by mental health every day. We have booths for them to have group therapy in. So they actually come into the booth and they're together as a group with the staff there, and we're able to actually do therapy that way.
That's fantastic. So I've heard a lot of talk about co-occurring disorders, and Michelle, do you want to talk a little bit about how mental illness and substance use issues come together and how we treat them in a facility like Morgan County?
Sure. Substance use disorders is prevalent amongst our population. We know that over 50% of the men coming in through diagnostics, it's Bledsoe, meets the criteria for a substance use disorder. And often they also have a mental health diagnosis that goes along with that, so they're co-occurring. So we have several programs for them to participate in. The intensive 9 to 12 months therapeutic community, where they're able to learn about their relapse triggers and coping skills and how to manage stress. That way, that creates a safer environment within the prison, because as we know, if there's drugs in the prison or drug use in the prison, that's a security threat to staff and inmates. So substance use treatment plays a major role in our prison system, as well as working with the mental health staff to ensure that their mental illness is stabilized.
Great, thank you so much. And Vicki, why don't you introduce our audience to behavioral health training and what we're trying to do to create safer prisons by giving our staff the skills they need to interact effectively and safely with people who have behavioral health issues.
Well, with over a third of our population having a mental illness, it's imperative that we train our staff to deal with these offenders. We've implemented a correctional behavioral health certification. We do 40 hours of training, and there is actually a ACA test that goes along with that, so they become certified correctional behavioral health professionals. And we just want them to have the tools they need to go back and do their job more effectively. With the mission being safe and secure prisons, we want them to have everything they need to do that job and maintain the security and safety of the unit. And I'd like to introduce Brandon Goins, who is a certified correctional behavioral health professional. He completed the training, received his certification, and he works in the supportive living unit.
So Brandon, what's the experience like? You were working for years without this special training, and now you have the training. Has it changed your performance as a correctional officer, or do you see a difference in your interactions with the inmates that you interact with?
Yes, the certification, actually, the training that I had, actually was very tremendous of help. It showed a lot of tools to utilize and help. I mean, overall it was great, and I've took a lot of those tools and used them, on my daily basis, and it's changed the way I approach and deal with the situations.
What about your brother and sister officers? Do you share those techniques that you learned with them, and do you think they understand that it creates a safer prison by understanding what the mentally ill and folks with behavioral health issues are dealing with when they're interacting with staff?
Yes, I try to share my tools with each and every one of them. And like I said, if I share them tools and they've not had the training, then they can utilize those as well. And, most of the time it works.
That's great. That's
Can
great.
I ask him a question, AC?
Absolutely.
I was just wondering, Officer Goins, have you noticed a difference in use of force or in assaults on staff? I know it hasn't been that long, but if you haven't noticed, do you foresee that as being, a benefit of the training?
Absolutely. It was a big benefit. It pretty much shut down the use of force and, assault on staff. So I think it helped tremendously.
Absolutely, great. Thank you.
Great question.
And I want to pass it off to Dr. O.
And to kind of piggyback off of that, although the officers who we've always had in that unit have been kind of at another level with dealing with the mental health guys, since they've had the training, it has gotten a lot better. Because as we all know, mental health isn't there 24 hours a day. So there are times when they're going to be in there and the only person that they will have to kind of decrease any behaviors is going to be the officers. So while in the past they would be good at de-escalating situations, now they're a lot better. So, and we tell all of the inmates that we talk to that, while you're in this unit, you might not have a whole lot of atmosphere or anything on the outside that you can do to practice your skills. And so that's what we kind of want some of the officers to help out with, because they need to practice those things in order for them to be stepped down and to be stepped out of the unit. We have to be able to demonstrate that they have learned a new behavior or learned a new skill. And so sometimes the only people that they can practice that with are the officers. And so they're a huge component to it.
That's a great point. Thanks very much. So Sara Hodges is our correctional administrator out here in the East, so she handles prisons and community supervision. So how does everything we talked about so far today really contribute to public safety writ large here in Tennessee?
So while they're in custody, as you can see, they are preparing them greatly. We've gotten so many programs inside that can give them the tools that they need to be able to be successful when they get out. We also have some great new opportunities in the field as well, with opening our 6-day reporting centers and community resource centers across the state. So even for these inmates that have been in here and gotten their treatment, even if they flatten their sentence, when they return to society, we have our resource centers where they can come now and get some assistance. And if it's something that we don't have right there on site that we can give them, we have the phone number, the address, and the ability to get them a referral, to get them the assistance that they need that we just haven't had in the past.
That's fantastic. So I guess the message we want to send to our brothers and sisters across the state at TDOC and the public is that we got you covered 360 degrees. We're doing everything we can to create safer prisons and provide effective community supervision and have a real seamless supervision and a handoff between incarcerated inmates and returning citizens, which is our bottom line and what makes TDOC so great, that we all work together for a common mission, and that's public safety here in Tennessee. Thank you, Warden, for hosting us here at Morgan County. You have a wonderful facility here, great staff, and we always love coming out to Morgan County. Thank you, everybody, for watching this version of TDOC Talks, and we look forward to seeing you. Thanks.